It looks like it's time. It looks like it's time. Looks like we're almost ready to go. As soon as you get here, let me know that you're here. Nobody sends me a list of people that are watching. If you're watching, you got to let me know. If you're watching this on a replay, leave a comment. Let me know that you dropped by. This should be a lot of fun. I hope everybody's got power. Hope everybody's got everything you need right now. It's still cold. Holy smokes, living in the South is not easy. So tonight's show is What Do People Expect? I saw some people in line. It was crazy. Hello, Logan Calcaterra. Congratulations. You are the first one to make a comment today. Susie Goebel coming in silver. Sherry Clark with the bronze. We're going to have a good time tonight. It's going to be great. There is a light that has gone out in the nation. We are going to talk about lights going out all across the nation. We're going to see what happens here. So hello, Darla Stewart Bennett. How are you? Greg Myers in the house. Don Schwingheimer. Hammer time. All right. I think enough time has gone through. We got enough people here. So, you guys ready? I think I'm ready. Let's do this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. How you doing? Welcome to the big show. My name is Mickey, and this is Mickey in the Middle, the quintessential show for middle Americans, where we talk about all things in the middle. And tonight, we've got a big show because I don't know what you expect. I don't know what I expect. I know what I expect. I've got my expectations set at the right level that every single day that I go out there in the world, I can get smashed like a bug and just not be here in the morning. Now, it's worked out for me for 58 years, so I'm blessed beyond all reason. But today we're going to talk about what happens when adversity faces Americans, because I don't know where people are there. So anyway, welcome to the big show. Steve Hayes, I'm here, but don't feel the love from you, Mickey. Steve Hayes, I would always want you to feel the love. Even when you're not here, I want you to feel the love from me, my brother. So, but later at the end of this month or early next month, I'm coming to visit you. We got to coordinate that, by the way. Gonna go to Florida. So, Lisa, hello. How you doing, Lisa? I'm so glad that you can join us. That lady does great work, by the way. All right, so expectations is what the show's all about today. And what kicked this off was yesterday I woke up without any heat. It was, I don't know what time the heat went out, but all I know is the heat went out. And I was like, oh, that is unfortunate. But I had a plan in case the heat went out. I not only had a plan, but I have a 72-hour plan on how I'm going to survive in the event that things don't go my way. So, my daughter prepared for Snowmageddon a few days ago, and she called me up, or she didn't call me up, she sent me pictures of the way that she had prepared her, the way that she had prepared herself in order to make sure that she was ready. And she sent me pictures of a tent, and then she had taken this tent, it was in her living room, and then she had put blankets all over the tent, and she created a little terracotta heater that was going to go on her stove, and it had a plate, a terracotta plate, and then 4 little terracotta cups that were flipped over, and then a big terracotta bowl that was on top of that. And then she's got little bitty candles that will burn for days. And the whole idea is you take these candles, you put them underneath the terracotta, and then they burn, and then they heat up the terracotta, and the terracotta maintains the heat in a small area of a room. Now, physics tells us that you can never get more heat out of something than you put into it. It's called the philosophy or the physics is entropy. because all things want to be balanced. So hot air wants to balance with cold air. Gravity wants to balance with gravity. All of the things that are connected want to be disconnected and evenly dispersed throughout the universe. And the reason I'm telling you a little bit about physics is because people don't understand the way the physics works. And I want you to think about this. We live in a society that has all kinds of luxuries. Like right now, I'm in my dad's house. It's got 3 bedrooms, a living room, running water, electricity. We can flush the toilets. We have a place to store food, a place called a refrigerator. We have a place that we can cook food called a stove, although I don't use it, a microwave. We can flip switches on, we can flip switches off and get lights turned on and off. And this morning, I was watching people that were in a line that were like, well, we're blaming the Texas Energy Commission for not providing us with enough power. Although nobody's seen this coming, and we all need power. They just don't have enough power to go around for everybody. And then everybody expects that that power is going to be distributed whenever you need it. Whenever I need it. Whenever they need it. The crazy thing about that is we're all relying on somebody else to give us all of these things. And you go, well, I paid for it. Well, yeah, you pay for it. But guess what? If somebody else doesn't provide that for you, then you're kind of like just stuck. And if you get stuck, what are you going to do? Because life is hard. Life is very, very hard. Life is difficult. Life is full of challenges. Life has difficulties that are thrown upon us every single day. And I want you to think about all of the people that weren't ready for something like this. Now, homeless people, they're ready for just about anything. They're ready for thugs to come along and steal from them. They're prepared to not have food. They're prepared for all kinds of weather. They live extremely simple. They have something on their back, but they know that life is tough. We, the majority of Americans, have forgotten that life is tough. We go out and we make a living, and the next thing you know is all of these things are around us and we have to maintain them. That's why life is expensive. And then people complain about how expensive life is. But most of the reason that life is expensive is because they are living and they are paying things month after month after month after month. We go get in debt. We get a house that's too big. We have cell phones that cost way too much money. And not everybody's like this, but a lot of people. So this morning when I was watching interviews on the news, it just absolutely shocked and amazed me how many people were not ready for the worst thing in the world to happen, which is a cold front come on in and just overwhelm the grid and not be ready for it. Our government tries. I have to admit, our government tries. But our government, this is a great example of having a one system that everybody relies on. The next thing you know, if you were all relying on the system and the system doesn't come through, that means that everybody's screwed together. What happens if all of the generating power in Texas would have gone out and everybody in Texas or on the East Coast or on the West Coast? Right now we have a very distributed network of electrical systems in the United States. And there's 3 of them. There's the East Coast, there's the West Coast, and there's the Texas coast. And those 3 talk to each other? Kinda. Because all of the grids are interconnected. But Texas is more segregated than everybody else's. So the East Coast is segregated from the West Coast, but they still have the ability to talk to each other. And then the government tries to take care of that. So that's kind of like what the show is about tonight. And I made a whole bunch of notes, and I'm going to talk about those things. So, Jeff, hey, how you doing? It's pretty warm and moody, which is in Georgia. And here's what the thing is about Georgia. My brother said that it wasn't too bad there. So the polar vortex came straight south, turned to the right, turned to its left, our right, and then came across Texas and across the Texas panhandle, and then up through Oklahoma and Arkansas, smacked a little bit into Mississippi, and I think it missed you guys. But now it's going up to Ohio and Massachusetts and parts up to the Northeast, and they're about to get smacked in the face too. So thanks a lot for checking in, Jeff. And then Catmans, hello, good morning, how are you? She wins the award for the longest distance. She is overseas and way overseas, so she's doing okay. Mark, you pay for it after the fact. Mark Calcaterra, yes, you do pay for it after the fact. However, you got to pay a deposit in order to have that stuff turned on. So kind of like you paid up front, and then if you don't pay and keep up, then they'll go ahead and throw you off. So that's the way it is. By the way, I'm enjoying warm coffee. Want to know why? Because I'm enjoying the luxuries of life provided to me by somebody that I don't know getting electricity to my dad's house. All right, so on to the notes. Here we go. I almost named this bitch, 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 bitch. Because it just seems like 50% of the people are just really complaining. And if you go on there and they're making fun of the Texas Energy Commission or whoever the heck they are, or they're making, complaining about their neighbors going out. They're complaining about not having enough bread on the shelves, enough toilet paper in the world. They're complaining. Then there's other people that are just like, okay, I'm going to take this right on the chin. They're going to just drive me right into the ground. I might lose power, but I got to get myself a plan. I know several people that have moved into RVs. I know other people that have moved out of their house who have gotten frozen pipes, and they've had to move out of and water coming through the ceiling and busted pipes and water is on the floor, and they had to pack up their stuff because nobody can come and get to them in order to help them out. So they've gone to live with other people temporarily while they're doing that. I know other people that have gone to shelters provided by the government, which is awesome and a great thing. But it seems like there are people fall into three categories. Number one, the people that are not prepared. They don't ever think that anything can go wrong. They complain when their phone goes out. Now, yesterday I had phone connectivity, but I did not have text messaging, nor did I have the internet, but I did have the phone. You know what I was not afraid of ever losing? My father's house phone. I think that my father's house phone would have made it, but who knows, because even telephone lines, hard lines, come down every once in a while. So that's the first category, the people that are not ready. The second thing are the people that are ready and make accommodations for failure. And they're ready. They've got a few extra days of food. They've got a few extra bottles of water. If you go to my house right now, up in Arkansas, I have got enough food to last me for 1 month. I always keep that. Number two, I've got 4 bottles of fresh water that is stored in my garage. I expect to lose all power. At one time, I didn't. At one time, my daughter, my wife, and I nearly froze to death because we had just moved to a new location. We didn't have any. We had heat, but the heat went out, and we had no other way to keep warm. We didn't know anybody, but the entire city was shut down. There were no warming shelters. So when I built my house, I built in a gas fireplace because it's really, really hard to take out a natural gas fireplace. So that's the way I was going to survive there. But it was only because I got slapped around and I knew that I had to do something for the next time that an event like this happened. And lo and behold, 21 years later, almost to the same month, it was January, February of the year 2000 that I got smacked around. 21 years later, here comes that winter vortex again, just to absolutely crush us. Those of you that lived in central Arkansas can remember the snowstorm, the ice storm of 2000. It was crazy. So now we get to the third category. The third category of people are the helpers. They're not only ready for this, but they've got the 4-wheel drive trucks. They've got chains. And those are the people that say, if you have a medical emergency, you call me. If you need pharmaceuticals, I will go find a pharmacy that is open and I will go get your prescriptions filled. I will bring you food. I will bring you water. I will bring you transportation. I will go out and I will voluntarily pull people out of ditches. I will drive down the road and I will make sure whether the roads are safe, and then I will report back to the rest of you using social media apps and let you know whether the roads are safe for travel or not. Those people are awesome. We do not have enough of those people in our society. And I kind of figured out why. See, what happened is we started building fences and we stopped building front porches. Because we don't have front porches and because we have other entertainment options, we retreat inside of our homes and into our backyards, and then we start locking doors and we close garage doors. And then we very, very rarely interact with our neighbors. If you're one of those people that goes out and interacts with your neighbors, Kat's a great example. Kat loves people. Kat's always interacting with her neighbors. She's always interacting with the people that are around her. She stays in touch. She makes sure that they're taken care of. She takes care of her kids. She takes care of her friends. She takes care of her neighbors. Then she's always out there partying and dancing, doing the thing that Kat does. Because she cares. And she is outside of herself. If I put Kat in a house by herself for a month, that would drive her crazy, and Kat would come out a crazy person. But Kat is one of those people that always has to be out there taking care of other people. So those are the three categories of people that I put them in. And what I don't understand about people in the first category is people that take everything for granted. Because the people that take everything for granted and think that everything's going to work all the time, and then they complain when things don't work, those are negative people that don't have a realistic expectation of what to expect from life. Life is hard. Life is hard. Let's see what everybody else says. This is funny. Greg Myers. It's called 4 cases of Spam, 5 cases of bottled water, and an 18-gauge shotgun with plenty of shells and a butane heater with plenty of butane bottles. Yes! Jeff says, I thought this was pre-recorded. No, sir. Every night, 9 p.m. Central, right here from wherever I am and right here wherever you are. I'm glad that you're with me. Hi, Jeff. How you doing? Kat Mint says, I do. Because here's what the deal is. Kat's one of the great people in the world. She will give you the shirt off of her back, which turns out could be quite sexy. So, at a socially distant manner because of COVID. That is beautiful. That's right. So I'm going to be talking about COVID here in just a second. Carolyn, how you doing? These people are the best, the helpers. Yes, they are great helpers, Carolyn. They are the greatest people in the world. They go out there and they help people every single day of their lives. It's just not on days where we have snowstorms. Those are the great people. By the way, I'm going to be a constant watcher. I'm really digging your platform. Well, thank you very much, Jeff. I greatly appreciate you doing this for me. So, and then, let's see. All right, so life is tough. Life is unbelievably tough, and we are not preparing our children for a tough life. I want you to think about this. When our children are young, they don't understand what it takes to keep a car running. They don't understand that you got to put gasoline in the car, and that gasoline has to be drilled out of the ground, and it has to come from somewhere. And then some person has to refine it. It has to get to the refinery. Then some person has to transport it to a gas station. Somebody has to have a gas station in order to have a pump available for you to purchase gas. And then in order to purchase gas, instead of carrying credit card or instead of having cash, we now have a credit card system in the world where we can take it and with a swipe, it will go, yeah, you got enough cash in your account, and then you can pay for gas and you can drive on. But children don't expect that. They don't understand when the telephone goes out. They don't understand where lights come from. They don't understand what it takes to heat a home, an apartment, a trailer, a tent. Kids don't understand this. And if they don't understand how things work, then how in the world are they supposed to appreciate the time, effort, and energy that is put in to making our system work? The young people of today, have not been exposed to how things work. They just expect it to magically happen. But if you get to the people that are the greatest generations, the people that were born from, 1920, 1915, that are still alive today, and you ask them what their life was like, they literally had to go find food. They went through the Dust Bowl. They went through the recession. They went through tough economic times and great economic times. They have seen the advent of the automobile and the way that we have progressed to a society that we can be distributed throughout the United States and can leave the farms to go to the cities and then eventually to the suburbs. When you can own your own place and you can be proud of the place that you own, that you got to go work for that. Where do they expect jobs to come from? Somebody's got to hire you. This is one of the craziest concepts that people don't get. We teach our children, in most cases, get an education, go get a job. But they never ask where the hell the job comes from. Because that job is supposed to provide you with enough money to feed yourself, to put a roof over your head, to heat your home, to put food in your belly, in order to take care of your children so you can raise them up so that they can be ignorant of the way that the world works because they expect an education. How many of us take the education system for granted? People have to volunteer in order to be teachers. They have to go get the education in order to become a teacher. That takes a great deal of time, a great deal of effort. But then somebody has to do that. And then they have to go to a school district, and then they have to ask for a job. And if there are no openings, then they don't get a job. Then they've got to go look for another job, or they've got to go do something else. But this whole philosophy of let's take things for granted and it'll all work out is a non-realistic look at the way the world actually works. The beautiful thing about America is that if somebody will not give you a job, you can go create your own job by starting your own company. When you start your own company, then you've got to go fight in the marketplace of ideas to get your ideas vetted and not authorized, to get them vetted and proven that you can provide something at a high quality that people would be willing to pay for so that you can make a living, so that you can put a roof over your head, a food in your belly, have a nice place for your kids to live, go camping on the weekends. It always amazes me when people ask other people to do things for free. Hey, will you tutor my kid? Well, you're asking somebody to take a portion of their life and tutor your child for no compensation, but yet that person that would voluntarily do that still has to put a roof over their head. And if they had turned that into a business, now you're asking them to do what they do for a living for free. Because I'm going to tell you right now, in America, you need quite a bit of cash in order to pay rent, in order to pay food, in order to keep the lights on, in order to keep in communication for your computers and your cell phones. Life is tough. And we're raising all these people that just expect all of this stuff to work. Somebody had to assemble the grids. Somebody had to put in the cable lines. Somebody had to put in the electricity lines. Somebody had to put in the plumbing. Somebody had to put in all of the sewage systems. And we all expect all of that to work all the time, but we never think what it takes to put it together and the low cost of being able to provide that to you. Now, a barrel of oil, in order to get a barrel of oil out of the ground, somebody has to take the time, effort, and energy to build a machine that will build a machine to be transported to drill in the right place after somebody finds the oil in the ground. And oh, by the way, that takes an extremely expensive machine too. When you find the oil, you have to drill into it and then you have to pump it up. And each barrel of oil is 42 gallons. 42 gallons is how much a barrel of oil is. And then they've got to transport that from a field. They've got to get it to a refinery. They've got to get it to a gas station, get it in the ground, and get it in your car. And they're doing that for $2 a gallon. I want you to think about the math on that. Do you know the scale of economy that you have got to have in order to be able to get it out of the ground and get it into a car? And now everybody's like, well, we're going to go to electric cars, so it's not that big of a deal. Well, yeah, it is a big deal. Somebody's got to invent the battery. Somebody's got to invent the car. Somebody's got to be able to get power out of the ground, get it into a system, and then get it into your car. Where's the electricity going to come from? You can have an electric car all day, but the electricity's still got to come from somewhere. All of these are extremely complex, interrelated systems that we take for granted, but most of these systems are not created by the government. The government is horrible at developing systems. And when they do have a system, they do not improve this system. All advances are very, very slow in systems, I don't know, like the post office. It took outside competition for them to stop sorting things by hand. It took outside competition to stop sorting things by hand. And they were like, oh, we got competition. We better get better at what we do. Oh, we got to raise the price of stamps to $5 a piece because we're still hand sorting. Well, people aren't going to put up with that, so we better come up with something else. That's how you got sorters. And yet it's still delivered by hand in a truck every single day except Sunday. There's a mail, mail runs on Saturday. All of these complex systems we are taking for granted. And I just wanted to share with you my thoughts on how are we telling our children what to expect in life. Because standing in front of a heating center because of something that was unexpected. There we go. We expect zero failure. And it's always somebody else's fault. It's always somebody else's fault. They asked everybody to turn down power in their house. How many people went around and turned off all of the lights? How many people took all of their extra TVs offline? How many people unplugged their toasters and their microwaves? I did. And then my dad went around and plugged everything back in. It was the cutest thing ever. And he's like, we'll be all right. Yeah. But if you have, I don't know how many people are in Texas. Let's say that there's 50 million people in Texas. If 50 million people in Texas don't care and they keep all of their stuff plugged in because it's only one more plug. Today, every time I turned on the microwave, I expected the power to go out. I expected to overload the grid. I would be the straw that broke the camel's back. I didn't even plug in my electric guitar today. I played acoustic because I'm trying to take care of the grid. It's the craziest thing. I would really like to research info from a different or just my perspective to supply before you cast. Yes. So my email is Mickey@mickeyinthemiddle.com. Mickey@mickeyinthemiddle.com. You send it to me, and then I'll send you my personal email as well. So that'll be good. I let my neighbor borrow my snow shovel. Does that count as helping? Lisa, it does count as helping. It's the little bitty things like that that really make a difference in the world. You know your neighbors. You know your neighbors. Do you know that there are people all over the United States of America that live in apartment buildings that do not know their neighbors? They never met their neighbors. They go into the apartment, they watch the TV, they do the cell phone thing, they do the internet thing, they read a book, they sleep, and then they get out and they go in their car and they go to work. They know the people that are at work. And then they come home and you never meet the other people in the apartment complex. That happens all the time. There are people that live 3 doors down and across the street from me that I have not met because they're never out in their front yard. But I know everybody else. I know everybody that lives around the pond behind my house. I know people all over the neighborhood. If anybody needs anything, yesterday I was talking about Brian, who communicated with me, who busted up the ice in the pond behind my house. So the geese who my wife have had for about 10 years could sit in the water where it's warmer and eat and drink. I cannot thank Brian enough for that. That was incredibly kind. By the way, I met him within a week of him moving in because he was outside and because he was out there. But there are people all over our country that do not know their neighbors. We're all isolated. We need more front porches, more barbecues, more picnics, and we need to invite everybody in the neighborhood so we can figure out who the nice people are and who the people are that we should shun and push to the side. So yes, that really helps because you know your neighbors. We do our children no favors by not teaching them that gravity is a cruel mistress. They will fall down and they need to know how to get back up. Kat, you are a genius. Here's what it says in my notes. Gas, electricity, education, government, cell phone service, phone lines, extreme sports. All of these kids that go riding a bicycle and get on the skateboards and do the rampy things and jump and turn. Gravity is in effect. And guess what? We have a hospital system that is absolutely incredible. But that hospital system can fail. They can lose power, but they have backup generators. But if the power stays off too long, then the backup generators run out of gas. If the backup generators run out of gas, how in the world are they supposed to keep people alive? It happens all of the time. Katrina is a perfect example. The city of New Orleans got flooded, and all of a sudden, all the utilities went out. Half the people were very, very accommodating and understanding that stuff happens and they were on their own to survive. But if you're relying on other people to stay alive, you got another thing coming. You just got another thing coming. So thank you very much for bringing that up, Kat. I greatly appreciate that. Lisa says, hi, Mickey. I know your incredible daughter at OSU. Yay! Hey, Laura, how you doing? And think highly of her. I think you are speaking from a position of privilege. Many people don't have the ability to stock ahead of store. Many lives paycheck to paycheck. There are a lot of families in Stillwater who don't have access to the internet. Even the best of times, they sure don't have the means to put back water and food for a month. I enjoy listening to you, even though many times I don't agree with you. Laura, thank you. I need you to understand. I need feedback like that. I need feedback like that because I truly am Mickey in the middle. I truly am. Here's what I have to say about that. We live in a society where we are, I got to be careful the way I say this. We live in a society that has a lot of things, but everybody that is blessed enough to be able to go find food and to have the houses and this, the point of this show is to say, hey, look here, those are blessings. We have a society where we have so much, and the diversity in America from having money to not having a money is very, very wide. You are correct. Not everybody has the ability to put food back, but they should at least prepare through the state, through churches, through their neighbors, through this, in order to be able to take care of themselves. And everybody should be able to go 24 hours. Everybody should be able to prepare through churches, through charitable organizations, through working with your electrical department, through working with your other people that are out there right now, in order to be able to secure your life in an event like this. You should know where to go, how to get transportation, and people need to take it upon themselves in order to make sure that they can survive. It's absolutely It's one of the things that's going to happen in a society where we have the ability to go out and make a living, that not everybody's going to make the same living. Because when we go out and we have the ability to earn a living through hard work, through perseverance, through smart decisions, through a public education. When I started, I only had a public education. That's one of the things that I attest to is the public education in the system in the United States of America works for most people, but it doesn't work for a lot of people because it's government getting involved. And when you don't give people choices, the government system is going to fail every single time. And as far as being privileged, I'm not privileged any more than anybody else is privileged. I'm not privileged that I worked for since I was 13 to 58. What's that? 45 years. I worked for 45 years in order to be able to broadcast this tonight. When I was 18 years old, I didn't have a pot to piss in. And then I worked 2 jobs at the same time until I got in the United States military. And then I worked 2 jobs as often as I could. And my wife worked 2 jobs as often as she could in order to build ourselves a life to what I have now. That's not privilege. That's just hard work. And yes, I recognize the fact that I have more than a lot of people. And I will help anybody I possibly can, which is a theme of this, is be one of the helper people that are out there. Every single day, I scroll through my internet feed and I go, that person might need some money. So what do? I send them money. And then I don't brag about it. You want to know why I don't brag about it? Because nobody needs to know about that. That's just the way that Mickey rolls. I do stupid stuff like support Wikipedia because I think that they do a great job. I support OBS, which is the open broadcast system, online broadcasting system, which I'm using to broadcast to you. I send them money because I believe that the people that have put this together deserve to have a roof over their head, food in their belly, and they need to be able to take their children and educate them and bring them up in a great society. Being able to go out and work hard and be able to make a life for yourself is not privilege. It's not privilege, or it's not putting other people down that they are in a position where they're not able to do that or have not been able to put the puzzle pieces together in order to do that. But it's still incumbent upon those people in order to plan for events like this and to take for granted that you're always going to have heat and air and water and everything else. Now, this is a very, very controversial subject about what is privilege, about what is not privilege. But I appreciate the input, and I want you to watch all the time because I want you to put checks on me. I want people to check me and make sure that I know things like this, because I will read it word for word, as you just noticed. I will read it word for word on the air because I believe that all people on my platform are going to be heard. Thank you very much for watching. So, all right, so there we go. I got to get to work. Glad to be able to listen for a minute. Hey, see you, cat. Love you. All right. Hey, thanks, Jeff. I will get that, and I will make sure I will send you an email. Thank you very much. Oh, hold on just a second. Let me get that. All right, so last thing I want to talk about today. Rush Limbaugh died. Let's be sad that somebody died. Rush was very controversial. I don't believe that Rush was anything except a good person trying to make a good living for himself in the United States of America. He had a point of view, and because of the First Amendment, the Constitution, of free speech, he was able to express his opinion, and millions of people listened to him every single day for like 40 years in order to get their perspective on the news and then find out what was going on. I didn't agree with everything that Rush Limbaugh said, but I know that his heart was coming from a place that was basically a great place from his perspective. And now that he is gone, every single time that we lose somebody, I think we need to take a moment, thank God that that person was on the planet, and then take stock in the way that we view our lives on this planet. because we are only temporary. As they say, ashes to ashes and dust to dust. We're all not going to be here eventually. So with that in mind, rest in peace, Rush Limbaugh, and everybody else that might have lost someone today. Bless the people that have gone out and are taking care of other people out there that have jumped in their four-wheel drive trucks, that are transporting the people that need to be getting to hospitals. Thank you for all of the roofs over our head. Thank you for the electricity that somebody has put together and been able to get the lines into our house to keep us all warm. And I pray for everybody that's caught out with this, that their power has gone out, their lights have gone out, that are in a very, very dire situation. I pray that they have the ability to get help and that they are well this cold evening in the South. So with that being said, my name is Mickey in the Middle. You can find me here every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Central, right here where I am. Thank you very much for all of the inputs. I'm coming to you on Facebook Live, but you can also find me on Rumble, on YouTube, on Parler, on Weemy. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for being my friend and taking the time to be here today. You have absolutely no idea how much I appreciate it. But you guys all be good. Remember that I love you. Please remember, live, laugh, love. Peace, everybody. See ya. Where's the note? Where is it? There it is.